One day he's alive and working. The next, headlines scream that he's dead. But the real tragedy? That part hadn't even started yet. Tom Selleck, the man we knew as Magnum P.I, found himself at the center of a heartbreaking firestorm. One that had nothing to do with crime solving or car chases. It all began when he shared a quiet but powerful fear in an interview. If Blue Bloods were canceled, he might not be able to afford the one place that kept him grounded. His 63-acre ranch in Hidden Valley. That revelation alone shocked fans. But what happened next? That's when the story exploded. But here's where it gets interesting. Within hours, bogus reports started spreading online. Clickbait headlines blared, Tom Selleck dead at 79. Tributes rolled in. Social media went into mourning mode. But it was all fake. He wasn't dead, just worried. And that fear became the fuel for a rumor mill gone wild. And just like that, the world grieved a man who was very much still alive. Hold that thought, because it connects to something even crazier. While fans scrambled for answers, the truth was hiding in plain sight. Selleck was back at his ranch, doing chores, worrying about his future like any of us would. You see, this wasn't just land, it was his soul, the place where he built his family, lived in peace, and found meaning after Hollywood's relentless pace. Losing it wasn't just financial, it was emotional. And the idea that even a star of his level was facing that kind of insecurity, it felt too real. Don't scroll yet. This next part explains everything. Because when Selleck admitted, "If I stop working, maybe I can't keep the ranch," it peeled back the curtain on celebrity life. We expect them to be untouchable. But here was Tom Selleck, decades into success, admitting he still had to grind just to stay grounded. That hit differently, and the reason will surprise you. It turns out, being a household name doesn't guarantee peace of mind. And in this case, the ranch wasn't just where Tom lived, it's what he lived for. That's why the mere whisper of Blue Bloods ending sparked panic, rumors, and a reminder that sometimes the real stories are hiding between the headlines. He was never supposed to be an actor. In fact, his plan was to wear a suit, crunch numbers, and climb the corporate ladder. But fate had something else in mind. Tom Selleck didn't grow up in a Hollywood family. There were no movie sets, no celebrity connections, just a humble, tight-knit home in Detroit. Born on January 29, 1945, to housewife Martha and real estate investor Robert, Tom was the second of 4 siblings in a family more rooted in American history than in Tinseltown. In fact, his bloodline traces back to English colonists who came to America in the 1600s. Generations of hardworking ancestors, and not a single film credit among them. But that's just the beginning. When Tom was just 3, the family packed up and moved to Sherman Oaks, California. The lights of Hollywood weren't far, but they may as well have been a world away. He grew up playing sports, not acting. In high school, he was the tall, athletic kid who could dominate on the court. He wasn't memorizing monologues, he was chasing basketball scholarships. And he got one too. The University of Southern California offered him a spot to play for the USC Trojans. And suddenly, his future looked corporate, structured, and entirely ordinary. But hold up, because here's the twist. In his junior year, everything changed. A drama coach saw something in him, something raw, something magnetic. That unexpected nudge pushed Selleck into uncharted territory, acting. He dropped out of USC in his senior year, leaving behind his business degree to study under legendary acting coach Milton Katselas at the Beverly Hills Playhouse. It was a move that made no sense on paper and would change his life forever. Stick with me, because what happens next will shock you. While his peers were chasing careers in finance, Tom was doing commercials for soda, deodorant, and cigarettes. He even appeared on The Dating Game, twice. He was broke, barely recognized, and standing in line with other aspiring actors who'd never be remembered. But Tom wasn't like the rest. He had something special brewing beneath the surface. Here's why that matters. Because from that risky leap into acting, through years of struggle and rejection, Tom Selleck wasn't just building a career. He was building the backbone of a Hollywood legacy. And trust me, the rise gets crazier from here. Before the Ferraris and Emmy Awards, Tom Selleck was just another face in a commercial, trying to survive one paycheck at a time. The truth is, success didn't knock on Tom Selleck's door. He had to claw his way toward it. In the late 60s, In '70s, while other actors were booking movie leads, Tom was doing ad work. For Pepsi, deodorant, cigarettes, even appearing in The Dating Game as a bachelor contestant. Sure, his looks turned heads, but that wasn't enough to land him roles with substance. And in the middle of this grind, the Vietnam War came knocking, and that's when everything changed. Tom was drafted, but instead of fleeing to fame or fortune, he enlisted in the California National Guard. For 6 years, he served in the 160th Infantry Regiment. That's right, before he ever played a fictional Navy SEAL on TV, he was actually out there serving his country. No red carpets, just boots on the ground. Now here's the twist. While juggling auditions and weekend drills, Tom kept grinding. Bit roles, bad scripts, background parts. But he didn't quit. He trained, worked hard, and sharpened his edge. He even studied acting under some of the best coaches in Los Angeles. He was waiting, not for a lucky break, but for the moment. He'd earned one. Don't scroll, because this is where things start to snowball. That B-movie role in Daughters of Satan? Small, forgettable. But it kept him in the game. His appearance in the Rockford Files? A spark. And when you string enough sparks together, eventually, you start a fire. And that's exactly what was about to happen. He was this close to being Indiana Jones. But a single decision changed everything and made him a legend in a completely different way. Tom Selleck finally caught a break. After years of bit parts, he landed the role of a lifetime, Thomas Magnum in Magnum P.I. But just as filming was about to begin, Hollywood came calling with something even bigger. Steven Spielberg wanted him for Raiders of the Lost Ark. Yes, that Indiana Jones. This was the ultimate fork in the road. But things were about to spiral out of control. The producers of Magnum wouldn't let him go. They refused to release him from his contract. And just like that, the role of Indiana Jones slipped through his fingers and into the hands of Harrison Ford. Heartbreaking, right? But here's where it gets even crazier. You won't believe what happened next. The filming of Magnum was delayed by 6 months due to a writer's strike, meaning Tom could have done Raiders after all. But he didn't pull any tricks. He didn't fake an injury. He stayed loyal. "I have to be able to look my parents in the eye," he said. "Stick with me," because this decision changed his entire legacy. Magnum P.I. became one of the most beloved detective shows in TV history. It made Selleck a household name, earned him an Emmy, and turned his mustache into a pop culture icon. He didn't just dodge one bullet. He caught the one that made him immortal. And now we know why sometimes the roles we lose are the ones that lead us to who we really are. At the peak of his fame, Tom Selleck had it all. And then he walked away. But why? Magnum P.I. was a smash hit. 8 seasons, 163 episodes, Emmy Awards. Tom Selleck was the face of American television, and then suddenly, it ended. Many thought the show was canceled. It wasn't. Tom left, on purpose. And the reason will surprise you. He was exhausted. The non-stop shooting schedule in Hawaii left him physically drained. But it wasn't just about burnout. It was about love. Tom had just met Jilly Mack, the woman who would become his wife. And for the first time in a long time, he wanted a personal life. But that's not all. Fame was starting to feel hollow. He wanted something real, something off-screen. He even turned down the role of Mitch Buchanan in Baywatch. Yes, the role that made David Hasselhoff a global icon, because he didn't want to be seen as a sex symbol anymore. Keep watching, because this next part will break your heart. Despite leaving at the top, Selleck's star dimmed in Hollywood's eyes. Offers slowed. He quietly faded from the A-list. But he didn't care. He got married. He raised a family. And for the first time, he started living a life just for himself. And that decision? It may have saved him. Just when Hollywood seemed ready to forget him, Tom Selleck did the unthinkable. He reinvented himself entirely. By the early 2000s, Selleck was no longer dominating the box office. But he wasn't done. He pivoted to something darker, grittier. Jesse Stone. A small-town police chief with a drinking problem, haunted past, and a badge that weighed like a brick. The character couldn't have been further from Magnum. And that's exactly why. It worked, but listen to this. He didn't just act in it. He produced it. wrote it, helped shape the tone and soul of the entire series. Over time, Jesse Stone became more than a role. It became a reflection of Selleck's own evolution, a man more interested in flaws than flash. Now here's the crazy part. One of the Jesse Stone films, Thin Ice, wasn't based on any novel. Selleck wrote it himself, from scratch. Hollywood didn't ask for it, he did it anyway. Why? Because the story mattered, and fans noticed. Critics praised the character's depth. Emmy voters even came calling again. Don't scroll, because here's where it gets even deeper. Behind the scenes, Selleck was still running his ranch, still doing manual labor, still making time for his family. In Jesse Stone, he didn't just play a role. He found a way to blend his on-screen world with the one that really mattered, and it proved that reinvention isn't about changing who you are. It's about becoming more of who you were always meant to be. He was America's most trusted face, until the tabloids tried to destroy him. And what they wrote? It cut deeper than any script ever could. Tom Selleck always kept his private life just that, private. But in the 90s, his silence made him a target. In 1991, a newspaper ran a headline, claiming to reveal Tom Selleck's love secrets, written by his father. It was false, it was invasive, and it left Selleck shattered. The worst part? His father had to read it too, and that's when everything changed. An angry and heartbroken Selleck sued the paper for $20 million. He didn't stop there. When another magazine claimed he was romantically involved with an actress he'd never even met, he went after them too. It wasn't just about reputation, it was about principle. But it gets crazier. In 1997, Selleck played a gay journalist in the comedy In and Out. It sparked headlines, confusion, and even more false speculation about his sexuality. The media frenzy was relentless, but Tom never cracked. He stood by the role, the performance, and most of all, his dignity. Stick with me because this next part is wild. While promoting his 1999 film The Love Letter, he was ambushed on the Rosie O'Donnell show about his NRA support. The interview turned tense. But even then, Selleck kept his cool. "I still like Rosie," he said later. "I just think she needs to take a breath." And now we know why. Tom Selleck doesn't fight back with scandal. He fights back with integrity. And in an industry that rewards drama, that kind of quiet strength is rarer than any award. Imagine being sued, not for what you did on camera, but for watering your avocado trees during a drought. That's exactly what happened to Tom Selleck. In 2015, Tom found himself facing a bizarre and very public scandal. The accusation? That he had illegally transported over 1 million gallons of water to his 63-acre ranch during one of California's worst droughts in recorded history. The source? A municipal water district that was watching every move. But here's where it gets even stranger. The water was allegedly used to sustain his prized avocado crops. Yes, Tom Selleck is a dedicated avocado farmer. The case went viral. Memes exploded. Late-night hosts had a field day. But Tom didn't panic. He paid $22,000 to cover the investigator fees and quietly settled the suit. Now here's why that matters. The ranch isn't just a property. It's his lifeline. It's where he finds peace, sweats through real work, and grounds himself away from Hollywood's chaos. He once said, "I hate the gym, but working the ranch, that's a workout I'll never skip." Hold that thought, because this connects to everything. That land, once owned by Dean Martin, is where Selleck raised his daughter, healed from burnout, and created a life most actors never allow themselves to have. He's not posing for paparazzi there. He's fixing roads and clearing brush with his own hands. And the truth finally came out. Tom Selleck didn't steal water. He fought to protect the life he built. And that life? It's rooted deeper in the soil than any headline could ever capture. He turned down roles, lost millions, all for one thing: his family. And that choice, it changed everything. Tom Selleck once said, "I quit Magnum to have a family." And he meant it. While most actors chased bigger roles and flashier paychecks, Tom did something almost unheard of. He stepped off the fast-moving train of fame to be present, to show up, to build something real. But listen to this. It wasn't easy. After his divorce from model Jacqueline Ray, with whom he had adopted a son, Tom met actress Gilly Mack while filming in England. They married in a private ceremony in 1987 and soon welcomed their daughter, Hannah. But Tom didn't just want to be a father in title. He wanted to be there every day. You won't believe what he did next. He moved his family to a ranch far from Hollywood's chaos. While other actors were hitting red carpets, he was attending horse shows, supporting Hannah's equestrian dreams, and doing the morning chores. Fame took a back seat, and he never looked back. Stick with me, because this next part proves everything. In interviews, he's admitted that every time he finishes a project, he wonders if it's his last. Not because he's lost passion, but because he's already got what matters most: his wife, his daughter, his land. That's the life he protects. And the reason will surprise you. Tom Selleck is living proof that sometimes walking away from the spotlight is how you find the light that really matters. And he's never been happier. It's the end of an era. After 14 seasons, Blue Bloods is ending. But Tom Selleck's story? It's far from over. As Police Commissioner Frank Reagan, Selleck led Blue Bloods for over a decade. He didn't just anchor the cast, he became the heart of the show. But when CBS announced its final season in 2024, Selleck didn't go quietly. In fact, he offered to take a 25% pay cut just to keep it alive. And that tells you everything. He wasn't fighting for money. He was fighting for the crew, the fans, the legacy. Blue Bloods is still a top-rated drama, and Selleck knows it. "We're not sliding off a cliff," he said. "We're doing good shows. We're still winning the night." But hold that thought, because this moment is bigger than one show. This isn't just the end of Blue Bloods. It's the close of a chapter that began in the 80s with Magnum P.I, a career that spanned 5 decades. And through it all, Selleck stayed true to his values, his craft, and his family. Don't scroll yet. This is the payoff. Today, he's still working on his ranch, still avoiding social media, still writing. His new book, You Never Know, is coming soon. Fans may not find him on Instagram, but they'll find him where he's always been, doing the work, loving his family, and staying humble, and that's the legacy. Tom Selleck didn't just play heroes, he lived like one.